So a commitment is a promise to lend. Why don't all commitments close? Why don't all commitments close? And sequentially, it's because of conditions. Does anyone who ever has done a real estate transaction ever spoke about conditions? Has your loan officer ever said, oh, we have these conditions? Have you ever heard this lingo? Right? So I'll give you an example of a condition. Hey, Glenn.
Yes, sir.
Would you serve me a glass of wine, please?
Sure, but on one condition.
Yeah, what is it?
You gotta do the jig for me.
The jig?
The jig. Oh, yeah. You, sir.
All right.
Get you one.
All right, thank you. The Cabernet, please.
What's that?
The Cabernet.
Oh, of course.
Thank you. I still want the drink. I did the condition. Now, what happens if I said, no, Glenn, I won't do the jig? What would happen? No wine. No wine. If you don't meet the conditions, no deal. Is that simple? That makes sense, right? So not all loan approvals mean you're just going to get the loan. You might have some conditions to make. Now, here's what's kind of crazy, right? Glenn could have said, that's not a jig. And then I would have said, what kind of jig? And then he would have said, I want it more handsy. I said, all right. And then they would go, okay. And that's the game that we play with our underwriters. As loan professionals, we have to satisfy the conditions of the underwriter. And so we must make sure that when we provide a condition, we are clearing it off and checking it off the box. Mission accomplished. We got the condition met. Now, guess what happens once we meet all the conditions? Any guesses? What's that? Karen, I'm not taking your answers. I know. I've already been through it too much. Anybody else? What happens when we meet all the conditions? Come on, someone give it to me. Anybody?
In the back.
In the back. I'm waiting. Got my lady. Almost. But you get $5. All right. So then we begin to prepare the file for a closing. We do actually begin to say, okay, all the borrower conditions have been met. I still don't have my glass of Cabernet. But we have to move on to some other things. We don't wait till the conditions are met to do these things. Many of this part of the process is fired off at the same time we're submitting for disclosure.
By a learning center, everyone gets a house.